Yeah, and also shout out, notice that our judge in the background, Stefan Eriksson, again, a good friend of both ours, lovely chap, lovely to see him on the stream, Judge.
So we have a look at Alexander here. We saw regional champion, we've mentioned that already this season, but a top 4 in Birmingham, top 8 in Warsaw, and not for nothing, top 128 at Worlds in Hawaii.
It's not a bad little punctuation mark on those accomplishments, is it?
I wouldn't mind getting top 128 at Worlds. Moving over to Drew, EUIC finalist and Worlds top 32 in senior, but don't think all of his accomplishments are in the senior age division. Top 8 in Frankfurt this season, top 8 in Stockholm last season, but as we talked about with Drew just a few moments ago, needs to get that win. There's another top 8 here. Can this be the top 8 that turns into a regional victory?
I mean, almost by sheer numbers, right? The amount of times that he's gotten himself into this position, you got to think, surely now's his moment. But having to go through a regional champion in the same season to do it, he's going to have his work cut out for him.
Absolutely. Maybe he needs to make 8 top 8s to get through to one. We'll figure that out later. Right now, we see the prizes come down. Quite a bit of energy there, Drew.
Yeah, not feeling great. Those are really things you would want to see, especially because under item lock, they could be useful for either getting back with Lavincia or just, you know, attacking with Solrock or drawing with Lunacycle. Alexander's prizes are fine, though, I would say.
Right, well, it does look like we are getting ready here for the top 8. Both players are using weirdly similar sleeves. Both players have their opening hand. They have their starting Pokemon down. All we need now is a fist bump, high five, handshake, funny wave. It's a fist bump, and we are rolling with our top 8 of the Stuttgart Pokemon Trading Card Game Regional Championships. Alexander goes first, Luminous Energy pass. That's not a good start, Freya.
It's not. But it also is exactly what we were talking about. If you win the coin flip as the Golden Go player, you force the Dragapult player to go first. It is very hard for them to set up. Meanwhile, look at Drew's hand. There's an Arven, there's a Artisan that he can make use of just to get set up really nicely. This is pretty much the ideal turn 1 situation for Drew to be in.
Yeah, that's a pretty good start for Drew there. Drew's getting everything he needs. He's already got the Solrock Lunatone combination. The Artisan is down. The good news is Alexander's looking at that going, okay, well, you know, at least I can use Artisan next turn. One thing that is worth noting, both of Drew's Lightning Energy, 2 out of 2 are prized, and 2 of the 6 Fighting Energy are also prized. In a deck that really needs lots of energy, this is a story we're going to have to be watching. Drew is 4 energy down. If it gets to trying to do giant KOs on a Dragapult, might be more difficult because of those prizes.
Yeah, I mean, you really need every energy you can get against a item locking situation. Maybe the small saving grace for Drew here is going to be the fact that Alexander had such a weak start. There's a universe in which he doesn't even get a Budu out next turn, so maybe that can help him out a little bit.
Well, no, so the Artisan down, you can get the Budu.
Oh, yeah, that's
and there's already an energy to retreat with a Pheasant Diptych.
Okay, yeah, that's
so
a
that's
good point.
one thing which we are going to see.
Okay, that's a very, very good point.
But it'd be nice if we got something else as well.
Yeah, so with that in mind, Drew's going to want to make sure, having kind of guaranteed that enabling of the Budu with the Artisan, wants to make sure to get down as many things as possible, and is looking through the deck right now to do exactly that. We'll have a good idea of what's prized now. There's the Lunar Soul package there in its full glory. Oh, and an S-Ball as well. I like that.
Wow, we're going to need to start getting those Gimmighoul at some point right now. I love this. We're getting a Genesect, and that is going to go and search out to Golden Go. Now, you don't need these yet. You don't even have any Gimmighoul down. This does 2 things. Number 1, it means you're not going to be searching for them in a couple of turns' time. Number 2, it lowers the amount of cards in your deck. And the fewer cards you've got in your deck, the more likely it is you're going to draw into the things that you want. And if you are preparing to be item locked, and Drew really should be, any tiny percentage increase you can get in the chance of drawing what you want has to be grabbed.
How many times have we talked about sequencing as a top skill for these top players? And this is a perfect example of it right here. Get those 2 cards out of the deck, like you said. Lunacycle now to draw 3 cards. It 2 less likely to be a Goldengo EX. And is that going to pay off? Yes, I think it pays off immediately with an Earthen Vessel. And a Gimmighoul too.
And an Arven as well.
I mean, you already had that, but yeah, either way, like this is
still like the Arven though.
Yeah.
Still a good card.
It's a good card, yes.
And that's going to get a Buddy Poffin and an Air Balloon. Great cards. You need the Air Balloon so you can retreat the Lunatone, and then you also need the Buddy Poffin so you can start going and getting some of those Gimmighoul. Free available to you now if you so wish. And just as a quick note, the way Drew's deck works, you've got Solrock for hitting 70 damage for 1 energy early game, Then you transition into your Golden Go. Golden Go draws cards, Lunatone draws cards, and Golden Go does 50 damage for each energy discarded from your hand, and you're allowed to discard as many as you like, and that will hopefully lead to big KOs on this Dragapult.
Yeah, I would also kind of like to put, we were talking a little bit about Super Sig already, right? A small addendum to that. It was so clever of Drew to go for the Lunar Cycle before, the Arven was already in hand, right? So you could play the Arven, do the Buddy Pop in for the 2 Gimme Ghoul, but by doing the Lunar Cycle first, you're actually more likely to draw into more out of the Gimme Ghoul because there's more of them in your deck. So he increased his odds of finding free Gimme Ghoul by doing it that way around.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to do some minor errand running here. Just going and grabbing a couple of basic energy. And this is basically, again, this is preparing to be item locked. You can try doing 70 damage with your Soul Rock, but realistically, how much is that going to help you in the long run? Going and getting 2 energy out, especially with 4 prized, is going to help those big Golden Go KOs in Eternal 2's time.
And I mean, we saw this exactly play out earlier, right? In terms of doing damage on that Latias, when then that damage can be like moved over. You don't want to fall into a random Monkey Dory trap again. So yeah, way better to get 2 energy. That protects you so much more.
And there is 1 Monkey Dory in Alexander's deck, so we could have seen Deja Vu all over again. Instead, go and get your basic energy. Worry about everything else later.
Yeah, speaking of basic energy, Alexander is looking through the deck now to kind of see how many he has to work with, grabbing that Dreepy off of that Artisan. Maybe again, we can take some time to explain the strategy of the deck. So, in case you haven't seen this deck being played out before, what Alexander wants to do is set up a big wide board full of many Dreepy and eventually Drakloak. The Dreepy evolves into Drakloak and has the amazing Recon Directive ability that lets you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, but 1 to your hand and 1 to the bottom of the deck. You hide behind a Budu, which item locks your opponent with its Itchy Pollen attack. To build
wait, I'm sorry, Freya, I've got to interrupt you here. That was the entire turn from Alexander. It was a Dreepy and Little Else. Now we go back over to Drew. We got treble Golden Go, and it looks like we're going to coin bonus, but we should be able to take 2 prizes fairly easily off the Fezandipti here, especially after having used minor errand running last turn. Now we draw a card with the 2nd Golden Go. There's another coin bonus. There is a Lunar Cycle potential from Lunatone as well. There comes your Earthen Vessel, which will get you more energy, and if there's gusting, Drew could potentially just go after that Dreepy here. But regardless, what you can do is just take 2 prizes off of Fezandipti when this entire board is a Dreepy, and then they don't get to flip the script and draw cards.
I mean, we were just saying earlier, the one thing that's guaranteed is a Budu down from the Artisan, but not if there's nothing else to follow up with. So Alexander had to prioritize getting the Dreepy down, and all of a sudden, Drew is free to use all those items and set up like crazy.
And well, I mean, the 3 Golden Go were in hand from last turn, especially after the Gen effect. No hand disruption either, and Ino would have been great, but that didn't come down either. Would have been great to give Alexander a new hand. His hand is clearly terrible. And right now, Drew, I think the worst case scenario here is that you end up taking 2 prizes. Professor Turo on the Genesect, just to open up a bench space. Fun little play. And here we see 5 energy discarded. Make it rain, son! And now we see Fezandipti going down, and yeah, you didn't get the Dreepy, but actually cutting off Flip the Script might even be better here.
Well, in this situation, when you know your opponent is not drawing much of anything, yeah, I mean, 2 is less than 3. That's the choice you have, right? Recon Directive for 2 cards. Maybe you find something here. The Blumminess and Luna and a whole Lucha. That's not very helpful.
It's not great, I'll be honest with you. And that is it. Game 1 goes to Drew. Alexander goes, you know what? That is a terrible start. Your 2 prizes up. I've got nothing. Let's save some time. Go to game 2. And the good news is, with Drew up 1 game to 0, we have got, especially in Top Cut where we increase the timer a little bit, plenty of time for a game 2 and 3.
Yeah, I mean, let's go back over that game 1. Not that there's that much to go over, really. This sequencing from Drew was so great. So able to set up beautifully. Alexander just really drawing dead with a Dreepy and a Fezandipti in the active with 2 energy, trying to power up maybe for a Desperation Cruel Arrow, but Drew with all the items being able to be played, 5 energy discarded from the Make It Rain for the knockout, and then 1 Recon Directive to find a very sad Holucha and a Blood Moon Ursa Luna, and then pick up his cards and go to game 2.
And unfortunately, that is as quick as it was. The only saving grace, if you're Alexander here, is you can look at this game and go, I mean, it can't be that bad again. I lost.
Knock on wood.
I lost in the worst possible scenario. I didn't even really get to play the game. So game 2 is going to be better. I get to have my choice of 1st or 2nd here. But if you're Drew, you're thinking, sweet, one game in the bag, and if there is a game free, it's going to be with my choice to go first or second.
Yeah, having, especially in game one, getting a win as a gimme / freebie, essentially, right? And then knowing that's... no pun of a gimme goal there, but and essentially having, as you said, the knowledge that at least one more of the best of 3 series will be in your favored starting position. Got to be feeling pretty good about himself.
No, you absolutely do, and you know, and that's going to be a bit of an ego boost. Remember, Drew hasn't gotten past top 8 in the past couple of seasons. It's been a top 8 finish and a top 8 finish. So what Drew is looking for is this victory, but the first step to getting your regional victory is getting over that top 8 hump. Here comes some prizes.
No.
I don't love prizing 2 gimme goal and a secret box.
Oh, that is some dreadful prizing from Drew. Not impossible to work around, but really not what you wanted to see, let alone in top 8 when you're trying to like improve on your best regionals result in Masters Division.
Well, Drew's starting off with a fight gong, so I'm sorry, Drew, you're about to get the bad news. Now, great news, Solrock in the active, Lunatone on the bench, energy, so you can do that KO the Badoo straight away thing.
That's a positive, but...
you've got 2 gimme goal with which to play the game, and you don't have your ace spec. That's, it's not terribly ideal.
I think the word you're looking for is bad. It's just really, really bad. But you know what's not bad? For Daniel Magda, you see there on the left, has actually won his first game against Uffe Axelsson, so goes 1-0 up in the top 8 match over there.
And that is a Golden Go mirror match, so we are going to have Golden Go all over this top cut for a while. It's only a little thing, but it is worth noting, with the 2 gimme goal prize, the 50 HP one is not prized, but that is the easiest one to KO with either a Dustclops or with a Dragonite with the residual damage from Phantom Dive. So when Drew gets that, that needs to be evolved up very quickly. That one is a little bit vulnerable.
It's the one that against Dragapult you either want to put down as soon as possible and evolve, or just not put it down at all if you don't need to. But with the prizing, like you mentioned, being a little bit awkward with 2 of the 70 HP ones being prized, doesn't feel great.
No, so you're going to need to get that one down and then get it evolved as soon as possible, because it is a little bit fragile. So we've got the Solrock, we've got the Lunatone, we're doing that little bit of deck searching here. And this is just, you know, we see top players do this at the start of every game. And it is just figuring out what's prized. For Drew, one of those searches would have been, no, I can't have 2 gimme goal prize. Let me check again, I must have missed one.
Yes, and but then it doesn't matter how many times you look. We can see it right here. You could look as much as you want, but those 2 extra gimme goals are not going to pop out.
Okay, so coming back to us, and you might be thinking, whoa, there's something terribly dramatic going on. We've cut back to the casters. Yeah, someone broke a sleeve and needs to fix it. While they fix that sleeve, we're going to hopefully keep you entertained here. So, Dragapult, Golden Go, what do you reckon's had the better tournament run this season so far?
I mean, it's tough to say, because I think they're kind of, it's a bit of a cop-out answer, but they're kind of on par. They've had a regional win each. I think if you're talking about the overall evolution, especially as it stands right now, I think the numbers don't really lie in terms of how much Golden Go there is specifically in the top 8 right now.
I'm saying that Golden Go has had the better tournament so far, while the players are back over, and we've seen Drew just pass with a Solrock and a Lunatone. There's no gimme goal that have found their way onto the field yet for Drew, so not a phenomenal start. And now, I'm literally just watching, so Drew finished out his turn. Now Alexander is actually swapping out his sleeve, but just to note that Drew did pass over the turn of a Solrock and a Lunatone, wasn't able to find any gimme goal or anything else.
No, which is, I mean, Solrock and Lunatone is great, but I mean, we were just talking about it. You really want to get down, especially that 50 HP gimme goal as soon as possible so you can evolve it up. Could be an opportunity for Alexander later on, depending on how he sets up. And I'm not going to lie, that hand is already looking a lot better than the game 1-1.
I mean, you know, if it's like a 3 out of 10, it's looking a lot better than the game 1 hand. But yeah, you're right, there are options here. So here we see an Ultra Ball. You're going to need to discard another card in addition to that Dust Noir to play that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I think there's just the choices what to discard here. There's none of the choices really feel great. It probably has to be this Hilda. Yeah, you want to really keep all the energy resources for as long as possible. You don't want to discard a Luminous or a Neo Upper. You have to play the Lily to draw more cards, and you really don't want to discard that Boss's Orders. So I do think the Dust Noir and the Hilda are the best 2 choices here.
It doesn't feel good, but you're right. You know, Night Stretcher can get back that Dust Noir in a pinch later if you need it to. And Hilda, at least in the early game, is not getting you that same value. Now, we do see Alexander. What they're doing here, they're flicking all the Pokemon to the front of the deck. This is just a really quick way to count your Pokemon. You put them all in one place in the deck. It means you can visualize nice and quickly, count them, and then you shuffle your deck very, very thoroughly to mix them all up again. But it just means initially you can look, and it's very easy to see which Pokemon are available and which Pokemon are prized. If you're wondering, 1 Dusclops and 1 Dragapult, and it is the, well, there's actually not all the decks do play 2 Dusclops, but Alexander's does.
I think it's more common in the Dragapult Dusknoir variants than it is in the Charizard Dusknoir variants, for example.
You've got a bit more space in the deck.
Yeah, exactly. So the slightly thicker line is usually a bit more common. And now I think Alexander's going to make a key decision here, which is what Pokemon to prioritize with this Ultra Ball. You have a Lily's Determination, so you're going to draw a bunch of cards. You have an Energy to attach to the active so you can retreat, or if you want to go ahead and grab a Dreepy, you could bank an energy on there, give up the item lock, but then you know for a fact that you have a Dreepy down at least, in case you get really unlucky off the Lilies.
I think that's where I'm going with this. Because you can get the Dreepy down, you guarantee it. And you're in that situation where absolutely Purdue item lock can help. It can work very nicely. But by the same token, because your opponent's already got the Lunar Rock combo rolling with an energy, it's not giving as much as it otherwise would. Your opponent can still take prizes.
But he's kind of taking a halfway house approach here. He opted to attach the energy to the active, not banking it on the Dreepy, but he did get the Dreepy down instead of the Budu, which is an interesting choice. It kind of, to me, says, you know what, I want to get this Dreepy down, but I still want to commit this Monkey Dory to, I want to commit an energy to this Monkey Dory because I feel confident enough that I'm going to draw a Budu to item lock even with this.
Well, I mean, it's keeping your options open. You can now retreat into a Budu if you want to, which is lovely. But by the same token, you know, maybe next turn you can move some energy over using its ability and then maybe attack, which would be potentially an option. It just means you've got lots of different things you can do. The good news is I'm seeing a Buddy Poffin. I think there's an Ultra Ball in hand as well.
Yeah, plenty of Pokemon Search to go. Oh, and a Hawlucha for good measure, but so you can go ahead and, I guess, bank that in the discard pile for a future Night Stretcher. Or even you just go for the Buddy Poffin first as well. That probably makes a lot of sense.
Yep, and now we can go for Duskull, Budu, Dreepy, eyeing up 3 Pokemon there, but remember there is an Ultra Ball in hand as well, so does have access to all 3 of those basics if you wish. So going for a Budu and a Dreepy here, but yeah, we're going to see this Ultra Ball played immediately, and it seems like Alexander was thinking about the no, it's going to be Latias.
Ooh.
This is perfect because now you've got an energy on Monkey Dory. You can use the ability and you don't have to get rid of the energy to retreat it.
Yeah, and this means that now Drew is going to be extra mindful about any potential of, you know, doing damage to a thing without one-hit KOing it, knowing that then Alexander can fling the damage back across. So it kind of creates that threat, as it were.
Yeah, we see 20 damage with the Itchy Pollen, because, of course, the weakness of Soul Rock. We got item lock here, so there's 3 cards drawn from that Lunar Cycle. We've got Professor Turo, Metal Energy, and another Professor Turo. I'm going to go out and say it. I'm going to say it, Freya.
Okay.
They were not good draws off that Lunar Cycle.
No, they really, really weren't. And
is there any out to a Gimmighoul in hand?
There absolutely is not. Pretty much the main decision that Drew is thinking here is that, yeah, there's a boss's orders, which is, yep, going to go prioritize that. I like that a lot. I mean, in this situation, when you're still taking prizes with this Cosmic Beam, you would much rather be taking out things that could become the thing you're scared of, that being the Dragon Ball EX.
And he's got a 1 in 3 chance of hitting a Gimmighoul off of his prizes, of course. He knows that 2 are prize. He does hit the 1 off the prizes. So he is going to have a Gimmighoul in hand for the start of next turn. And because you're 1 prize up, and you've got options for KO with Soul Rock even next turn, this is a new build of Golden Go. You're not under that same pressure to have the Golden Go now.
No, you have other attackers. And I think, to be honest, that combined with the extra draw from Lunatone is really what's pushed Golden Go over the edge recently into just one of the top picks to maybe the top of all of them. I mean, maybe that's a controversial statement. I know, especially
it's been the most played deck for multiple tournaments in a row. I don't think it's that controversial, Freya. I think it's safe.
I think maybe some of the Gardevoir backers in the room might be keen to disagree. If Henry Chow's watching, I do apologize in advance. But
well, I'll tell you what, if Gardevoir wins this tournament, we will issue an official on-air apology.
I see what you did there.
The joke is there's no Gardevoir in Top Cut. There's multiple Golden Go, though. So here we go with the first Gimmighoul coming down from Drew. And, I mean, honestly, you can KO the Budu. You've got a Gimmighoul down. It'd be nice to get another Gimmighoul. But actually, right now, This is not a... Like, Drew's board doesn't look great, but it's actually fine. You take another prize and you can potentially have a golden go next turn. You'd like more Gimme Ghoul, but you still got the option of a big golden go KO.
Yeah, I think the main worry here is just the fact that there's only one Gimme Ghoul down, because that means that Alexander could pick it off very easily, especially he's able to find his way into whole Lucha plus Dragapult, or even just Dragapult plus a counter catcher or a boss's orders. And there's the choice there between the Night Stretcher and the Psychic Energy. Opts to take the Night Stretcher. The Dragapult is in hand already, but I don't see a gusting card yet.
There's the whole Lucha.
That'll do it.
Yeah, this is perfect. Now, this is the massive downside of the one Gimme Ghoul. I said he didn't need more than one, and that was true until this happened. Now we get 1 damage on each of those Pokemon. The one on Lunatone is honestly kind of irrelevant at this point, but now we are going to see an Iron Opening Drew down to a 4-card hand, and you don't need any gusting here. You're going to KO the Solrock, and you're going to KO the bench Gimme Ghoul, and also your opponent's going to be left with a Lunatone and nothing else in a 4-card hand.
Yeah, not a great position to be in. I'm very interested to see what the decision was behind attaching that Fire Energy to the Dragapult. The Nino Upper already provides the energy cost. Is there maybe a retreat angle coming later on, just in case, or maybe just to get it out of the hand so that he doesn't draw into it later?
There's nowhere else you need to put energy right now. The only other thing that even wants energy is Monkey Dory. Now, here you actually would like an energy on the Dreepy.
Yeah,
you just got off the Buddy Buddy Poffin. But it opens up some options, it opens up retreating options, and also it means you're not going to draw back into it because, you know, maybe if you didn't, you know, maybe that Fire Energy comes out later on in a situation where you don't want it. You're right, but right now, here is a double KO, and now Drew is really on the back foot. Having those Gimme Ghoul prized was not ideal. Only seeing one, and that was off the prizes.
Yeah.
Drawn into any out to a Gimme Ghoul could well have cost Drew this game. But we got 55 minutes, and they will get the choice of first or second in game 3. So we're not at panic stations yet if we're Drew, but it really is looking like Alexander might be taking this game too. We're not there yet, but they're in a good position.
So what's going to happen here is there is a Nest Ball from the Ino for Drew, so that's going to be a good start. Pheasantipsy's Flip Script is going to give him a good chance. There's also a Lana's Aid. You could use that to get back maybe some combination of the energies plus that Solrock or Gimme Ghoul to get things set up there. But I think the decision on the supporter is going to be based on what happens from this Flip the Script. What 3 cards does he find, and how can he use it to surmount some kind of comeback here?
That is absolutely what we're going to be needing to be looking for. 3 cards is going to be good. It's always nice. You cannot use Lunar Cycle, not without a second Solrock coming down. Remember, they work in tandem. Solrock's attack only works with Lunatone on the board, and Lunatone's ability only works with Solrock on the board. So here is a Flip the Script. Big 3 cards being drawn here.
What's he find?
I like it when they dramatically pull it so we can see one by one. That makes me happy.
It was 2 golden go in an Earthen Vessel.
Yeah. You can get some energy, and you got your stage 1s.
But, oh, wait. Oh, hold on. There's Narvin in the hand. I thought it was Lana's Aid. No, it's Narvin.
Okay, so Arvin can get a Buddy Poffin. Buddy Poffin can get double Gimme Ghoul. But the thing is, with Alexander set up as he is, especially with a Duskull on the bench, it is absolutely possible for Alexander to KO double Gimme Ghoul this turn.
Yeah, and especially given what we were talking about earlier in terms of the access of what HP Gimme Ghoul that Drew has access to, it is going to be that 170 HP one and that 150 HP one. That is prime target for a Dusclops Curse Blast.
Yep. Dusclops can trade 1 for 1, and if you're even on prizes, but you've got a way better setup than your opponent, you love trading 1 for 1. That makes, especially when you're trading a tech for their main attacker, that sounds awesome. So here do come the 2 Gimme Ghoul, but you ain't going to evolve it before Alexander gets a chance to evolve his Dusclops.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe one angle could have been, if there was a way to pull this off, go into this Gimme Ghoul and actually go for Call for Family for the 4th one, but it's in the prize card, so that's not even an option. 1
in the prize, 1 in the discard, 2 now sitting on the bench. You would need something like a Night Stretcher to get that last one back. So here we just see a pass, no viable attacker, and this is a turn where Alexander can essentially win the game. Here comes a boss's orders, and that is going to be all you need, because now you can just attack with Dragapult, KO the active Gimmighoul. That will then allow you to KO the 60 HP Gimmighoul on the bench with no extra damage needed. Alexander is going to be down to 2 prizes remaining. Drew is still going to be 2 turns away from getting any kind of Golden Go, and it is now just a matter of time. No, it's not. Drew picks up his cards. Alexander wins game 2, and we are heading off to game 3 in top 8 of the Stuttgart Regional Championships. And we got more than 50 minutes, Freya. Are we chilling?
We are absolutely chilling. Honestly, I was about to say these players aren't chilling, but they seem to be in pretty good spirits all around. I see you smiling, I see you joking. Considering how much is on the line, it's always a lovely feat to see good sports from our players. Let's go over that game 2, which really was, I think, a mirror image of game 1.
It was a mirror image. That's a great way to put it. We see the Badoo coming out nice and early to item lock. Drew has no Gimmighoul, and that means that the Hawlucha dropping those damage counters, especially on the Gimmighoul, and the evolution into the Dragapult led to a 2-prize KO, but crucially took all of the Gimmighoul off the field. And by all of them, I mean the only Gimmighoul. So here we see the retreat into the Dragapult to get that KO on the bench Gimmighoul with the active Soul Rock, really putting Drew behind here. And Drew is able to take little prizes with Soul Rock, but then at the end of the game, we see a boss's orders double KO on those 2 Gimmighoul after the 50 HP was forced to be won on the bench. And with that, Drew knew that Alexander was 2 prizes away from winning and that no Golden Go was coming this game.
Yeah, it's a brutal way for that game to end, but it is kind of a mirror image of the brutal way the game ended for Alexander in the other instance. Now, I just have received a very interesting word in my ear. So Alex Alex won that game, right? Yeah, so, no, hold on. I got a little bit mixed up there.
Alexander won game 2.
Yeah, Alexander won game 2, but he has chosen to go first. Wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm just going to be, of course, Drew just chooses to go second because, of course, he is.
Oh, yeah. If you're Drew gets the choice this game because they lost game 2.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we've explained a couple of times that going second here, essentially, you're probably going to get Badoo item locked. So by going second, you get a full turn before the item lock comes in. Whereas if you go first, you get a turn with no supporter or attack before the item lock comes in. Frankly, not the same.
No, it really isn't. Both players want to be going second here. That's why because I saw something, I guess I just must have been a little bit confused for a second. Never mind, it happens to the best of us. But Drew will be going second, having just lost that game as he really wants to. Maybe he could do a mirror image of, or rather, not a mirror image, like an exact copy of game 1. That would be good for him.
That would be quite good. 1 Gimmighoul prized and 1 Sorrow. Oh, 1 of each plus Badoo. Obviously, there's a second Badoo in the deck is too important. But 1 of the 2 Badoo, 1 each of the evolution line for Dragapult. So I'm going to keep an eye on here. 1 of the 2 Lunatone for Drew. But we are off in game 3 of this top 8 action from Stuttgart. Alexander goes first. And once again, it's going to be over to Drew in a moment saying, what can you do before Badoo?
Yeah, Nestball now to do kind of similar to what we saw in the previous games. Alexander looking through the deck and seeing just what Pokemon he has available to him. We know for a fact that it's perhaps not all of his Pokemon prize, but like, you know, one line of his main attacker and then 1 Badoo. At least he has access to the second one, so he's still going to be able to work with things here.
Yeah, it's an annoyance rather than something terrible. And in a Dragapult deck, you play a 4/4 line. So, you know, because the Recon Directive is such a good ability, they are playing a 4/4 line. It is a fat line of Dragapult, which is what you want. When you've got a really good stage 2 with a good ability, because stage 1 with a good ability, then you're going to play a fat line, as opposed to these Charizard that we often see with much thinner lines, because Charmeleon, I don't want to sound rude, none of them are that good right now.
No, it is not. I mean, comparing a card that is basically part of the main engine of your deck and lets you dig deep compared to just a thing that evolves into Charizard. I mean, one does have that pretty cool self-protection ability, of course, the Flare Veil that protects it from effects of attacks, but it's still not amazing.
No, it's largely there so that TM Evolution can evolve from the deck to save you having to be overly reliant on a rare candy. Well, here we see a Dreepy hit the bench for Alexander off of that Nest Ball, and it looks like we're eyeing up an Ultra Ball here to go and get another basic Pokemon.
Oh, and a choice there to discard the Duskull. Interestingly enough, we saw how important it was in some of the previous games to make sure that you set up your Dusknoir line early on to really give yourself the chance to do your board wipe turns, but kind of prioritizing the double Dreepy here, it seems.
Okay, so we do see 2 Dreepy, but no energy. It was not great there. Drew gets a Buddy Buddy Poffin, a lovely new full art version, and going to be going searching for a couple of Pokemon. You've already started with a Gimme Ghoul, so you only really need to get 1, but what else is available in the deck? And it's a weird kind of deck to play Buddy Buddy Poffin, because you kind of have to for your Gimme Ghoul, but by the same token, it doesn't get you Solrock, doesn't get you Lunatone, doesn't get you Pheasant Dipty, doesn't get you Morad, doesn't get you Genesect. So it only actually gets you Gimme Ghoul.
Yeah, and there is one Gimme Ghoul prized of note for Drew, but it's probably the one he minds prizing the least. It's that 50 HP one.
Yeah, we saw that was, you know, and don't get me wrong, Alexander was almost certainly winning that last game, but letting them KO the bench Gimme Ghoul without even having to put any extra damage down.
Just kind of sealed the deal, didn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't ideal, frankly.
No. Now, only one Gimme Ghoul found from this Buddy Buddy Poffin. That, to me, telegraphs the other one is already in the hand.
Well, we do see some results coming in. Nikolai and Paolo there in top 8. We've got a 1-1 game. Nikolai has got 1 game with Charizard. Paolo has got 1 game with Dragapult. We are bringing you these updates where we're able to do so. Might even be another one coming in a minute. You never know.
I mean, they're all playing their hearts out right now, right? They have to have some winners eventually. There it is, the 3rd Gimme Ghoul coming down from the hand. And other than that, though, just a minor errand run. It could be worse, but you ideally would like to find the Lunar Rock package here.
You absolutely would like to find that Lunar Rock package. We don't have either part of it yet. There's no Solrock, there's no Lunatone. Buddy Buddy Poffin won't get either of them. And that's the thing, like, this is the point where, you know, ideally you want to be setting this up so that when Badoo comes out, you're like, ha, 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 now I'm KOing every turn. What you don't want is basically a bunch of Golden Go you can't do much with. Speaking of Golden Go, Daniel and Ufa are playing a mirror match of Golden Go, and in true mirror match fashion, currently sitting at 1 game each. A lot of 1-1s going on in top 8.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense, right? In the mirror match, generally speaking, there's a preferred, you know, going first or going second. You prefer to go second, and if you go second, you are at a pretty big advantage, so maybe that comes into it a little bit. But then again, you can also get lucky with the setup going first and just get a bunch of Gimme Ghoul out, and then you're in the lead. So, you know, it can go either way.
Well, I think there's 3 top 8 games going on because Oven can't play until the ASIM's done. And they're all sitting at 1-1 right now. So somebody is going to have to start winning these eventually. Here comes an Ultra Ball, and that is for a second Drakloak. And Alexander's setup is looking nice here. Can we see a Badoo and some way to pivot the Monkey Dory? That would be nice.
I just want to draw attention to the fact that he had to discard 2 counter catcher there to pull off that move. That could really come back to bite him later on. We've seen so many times Dragapult players finish out games by doing a tricky counter catcher on something that can't really attack or do anything, and then finishing a game that way. That's going to be a bit harder to do when there's 2 of them already gone.
It's going to be a lot more awkward now here. Now, this is the ASIM. This is Silas against Christian. And Joltik Box, 1 game up with Silas against Christian's Dragapult. Keep an eye on that, because right now it's only Dragapult's Charizard and Golden Go in top cut. Silas on top 8. Silas looking to break that Triopoly?
Triopoly, yeah. Yeah, Triopoly. Your Monopoly, Duopoly, Triopoly. Yeah, I'll go with that.
I think that works.
I think you're not inventing words the same way Alex is. I think, but Drew just has to do another minor errand running and then passes over to Alexander, who draws it Lily's Determination.
Which is going to get 8 cards because you haven't taken a prize yet. And this is looking a lot more like game 2 than it is game 1.
Yeah.
Drew is not getting anything rolling here. And Alexander is, I mean, this should be the Dragapult turn if everything goes well. And the problem is, look at that enticing board. Hawlucha, Dragapult, Energy, Smash.
Yeah, it's not a great position to be in if you're Drew Stevenson right now. And what looked like a pretty okay setup, even after fending for the minor errand running, not able to find anything else. And now Alexander bailed out from his dreadful hand first and has the opportunity to completely blow Drew away.
Yeah, he is. That's what he's going to be looking for. Now, what have we got? We do see a Dragapult in hand. That's rather lovely.
Yep, so that's what piece 1. So, and there's an Ultra Ball as well for Hawlucha, so you just need to find the energy here. There's, a Lily's Determination and a Duskull. Yeah,
and didn't get it off that first Recon Directive, but there is Recon Directive number 2.
And there's a Jamming Tower as well that's super strong.
Wasn't an energy, though, unfortunately.
No, it wasn't. I was wondering if I missaw and there was an energy hand, but no, there wasn't. I was right the first time.
What energy's on there? Yeah, even a Jet Headbutt KO in the active with 2 energies, not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, you could just win next turn from that, right, if Drew continues to brick.
You do need a way to pivot, mind you. Right now, that Monkey Dory is in the active.
Oh, so yeah, I guess. Oh, maybe you should do that. We know that Latias isn't prized. You could go ahead and Ultra Ball for that to retreat. That would work.
That's what I'm thinking. If you don't need Hawlucha this turn, go and get Latias. There comes a Dusk Skull sitting there on the bench. There comes a Jamming Tower, down with tools, as some people might say.
And I think, is Alexander debating not going too aggressive here? Is he maybe thinking, hold on, it might be best for me to hold back a little bit because next turn, oh, here we go. We can pull off a double Duskull onto the bench and pull off a blowout Dragon Ball turn, carrying everything in one go, maybe denying Drew the access out for a flipped script. Actually, that's really smart. And it's just another energy!
And that means that Drew has nothing going on. His hand is energy. He does have, well, honestly, not very much. We do see a Moral coming down, a Mega Moral with an energy, but it's another minor errand running. What we see here from Drew is, if I get the energy of minor errand running, I can't top deck them. Having said that, he minor errand running last turn, and he still top decked one, so maybe that is not holding as much as he might like, and it is looking like heartbreak for Drew in top 8 here. Terrible hand, terrible top decks, so many gimme ghoul, but there is not a golden go in sight, and Alexander starts off here with a recon directive. There are 2 Duskull on the bench. We know there is a Dragapult in hand. We could see a gigantic turn here.
I think that with the combination of the multiple Duskulls available for Curse Blast, Ultra Ball for Hawlucha, and the fact that you have access to the energy guarantee now because there's a Hilda in hand, I think Alexander has all the resources to KO all the Gimme Ghoul in one turn.
Yeah, what you can go ahead and do here is you can go and drop 1 damage counter here and 1 damage counter here using your Hawlucha. You then drop another 5 damage counters here with your Dusclops, and then that's very close to being KO'd. Okay, this, then the active, the residual damage goes here, and you are very, very close to getting all of those Gimme Ghoul off of the board.
You leave Drew with a Mega Mawile and a Prey.
not looking phenomenal. Now, what we ideally want is Rare Candy Dusknoir, and then you can actually just outright KO one of those Gimme Ghoul, but they are all looking a little bit fragile right now. Thank goodness the 50 HP one isn't on the board.
Yes, they're going to be even more devastating than it already is, and let's not sugarcoat things. Things are really, really bad for Drew right now, especially if Alexander can pull off this turn, and it looks like he's putting together all the pieces correctly to do so. I am not fancying Drew's chances.
We do have a Dusclops in hand, it is worth pointing out already.
2 of them. There's
2 in hand.
Yeah.
So actually, yeah, to be fair, so if both the Dusclops take 1 Gimme Ghoul, Hawlucha drops 1 on the other, that's it. That's your 3 KOs.
Yeah.
On the Gimme Ghoul. All gone.
And so first Ultra Ball being played now, discarding the Ino and the Laser Termination. I think, at this point, you don't mind sacrificing those resources. You need the Latias down because that's how you're going to retreat this Monkey Dory so you can pull off the Phantom Dive. And with this...
Does mean no Hawlucha, unfortunately.
But but now that means, I guess... Oh, no, hold on. It doesn't matter because you have the second Ultra Ball going. You can pop 1 of the Dusclops, Ultra Ball for the second Hawlucha, because then you have the bench space for it once the Dusclops is gone.
There will. Or you can just do both the Dusclops, 1 into each of the bench Gimme Ghoul, and then Phantom Dive will actually finish off both those Gimme Ghoul while KOing the active. So Hawlucha isn't even necessarily needed. There goes the Neo upper energy. Now we retreat. Are we going to see a big triple KO? I'm pretty sure we are. 50
yes.
on each of the Gimme Ghoul, as we just suggested. And that means 200 to the active, 2 to each of the bench Gimme Ghoul. That is a treble Gimme Ghoul KO with 2 damage counters left over for the Mega Moral. Most importantly, Alexander takes 3 prizes, and Drew's left with a Mega Moral and not much else.
And let's not forget, Gobble Down, it does 80 damage times the number of prize cards you've taken. Drew's taken 2, but that's it. I mean, and there's just the 2 prize cards that he got given from Alexander's Dusclopses. So I mean, you can do 160.
You can. And to be fair, that means next turn you get to KO the Dragapult.
Oh, what is that hand, though? I mean, actually... It's still energy.
It's a lot of energy. That's what it is, Freya. And here's the thing. There isn't even a target for the Buddy Buddy Puffin.
No, the last Gimme Ghoul's in the prizes, as we already talked about.
1's prized, 3 are in the discard, and nothing else is low enough HP to be searched. And look, you're in game 3 of single elimination. There isn't really any point in conceding here.
No,
actually, no, this will help. Using Earthen Vessel to go and get some more energy. And if there's one thing Drew needs right now, it is more energy. And I say that in jest because Drew's hand is so bad, it's nothing but energy.
Okay, it is now physically impossible, though, for him to draw an energy for turn. Every single energy that in that deck is either in the discard pile or in Drew's hand. There are none left that he can draw.
Well, it's a Lunatone, a superior energy retrieval, and a whole bunch of energy. And this is heartbreaking for Drew because you get into top 8 again, you win game 1, game 2 your deck did not cooperate, and game 3 here, this is not going. Good news is you got energy for your Mega Morale, so you can do half the amount of damage you need. The problem is you're not going to be able to attack with Mega Morale again because, you know, they hit you, you hit them, and then a new Dragapult KOs you for the game.
Yeah, and also not only that, but given that it's not a one-hit KO, if Alexander can find his way into a Luminous Energy, all of a sudden you're using that Monkey Dory to deal lots of damage, and then actually it then wouldn't even be a 2-shot.
It would not be a 2-shot. It's an exact 2-shot right now. It needs to be 160 plus 160. If a single damage counter is removed, then Drew will not get the KO next turn.
Oh dear, oh dear. So this is one of those situations where Alexander knows he's in the driver's seat, knows that there's very, very little that Drew can maybe do for a comeback, but you do not get complacent. You do your setup correctly still. You grab your other Dracloak, you go for your recon directives, and you make sure that you have the means to close out this game, because the last thing you want to do, and the thing that would feel really, really bad, is if you basically have the game on lock and just throw it away to something silly.
That would be a less than ideal scenario, I think is a colloquial way to put it. Now, we do have a result here. Now, this is that's Nikolai against Paola. That's one of our top 8 games. So Charizard beats Dragapult 2-1 in top 8. And Nikolai Steborg is going to be heading in to our top 4.
Well done to Steborg. Commiserations to Paolo, but I mean, Nikolai I know has been really hungry for a big result for a while, so he's going to be very, very happy about that. But focusing on the game ahead, look, Alexander was able to find the Luminous Energy, so he can use the Monkey Dory Adrenabrain, heal some of that damage off of the Dragapult, and then go ahead and make sure that the Dragapult can't be 2-shot by this Mega Mawile.
Yeah. And it's so heartbreaking because it's just like, come on.
Okay.
Like, you need a hand. You need something. Like, now you can't even 2-hit KO a Mega Morale. And here's the thing. I think at this stage, now the Mega Morale is, you know, in range of being KO'd by a Phantom Dive. So Dragapult Energy, even if Dragapult goes down, Dragapult Energy Gusting. If somehow Drew could get something else in the active and KO Dragapult, which, spoiler alert, he definitely can't, even then, there would be an easy route to victory. Here is the boss's orders coming down from Drew.
That must be the top deck then.
Desperation play onto that Dragapult, trying to trap something in the active, but there is a Psychic Energy, and that's all it is going to take to retreat and attack. KO Mega Morale, 3 more prizes, and Alexander is going to be heading off into top 4, and it seems like seems like Dragapult is not done yet.
It absolutely is not. And Alexander isn't done yet. 1 game closer to becoming a double regional champion in a single season. And what an accolade that is to add to your resume.